Imagine this, what if the man dancing at the palace ball in Minsk wakes up to sirens blaring, realizing his country is now a giant target on the map? Alexander Lukashenko believes he's gliding smoothly into 2026. But the shadows from the Kremlin whisper a darker fate. Could Belarus be the unwitting pawn in a deadly game that's about to explode? Recent chills from the east reveal Putin's hidden moves. Between December 25 and 26, his commanders slyly wove ordinary Belarusians into a vast barrier of lives. Rooftops on high-rise blocks in Minsk, they've morphed into buzzing hubs of signal jamming tech. Feel the winter wind whipping through those streets, carrying the hum of hidden machines? That fateful evening of the 25th, and dawn of the 26th. Drones sliced through the skies over Belarus and Russian zones. They struck civilian spots in Volyn and Rivne areas. Heart-pounding reports emerged. Unmanned craft, guided from Belarus soil, hovered near Koval station along the Lviv rail line. The air thick with tension, engines droning like distant thunder. In this tangled web of Belarus, Ukraine, and Russia, chaos brews. Will alliances shatter like fragile ice? Yet amid the storm, Ukraine's leader stands unyielding, a beacon firing up his nation's spirit. His words echo, "We shield our lives, our kids' futures." No backing down. No hiding faces or turning tails. This bold cry? It spotlights Russia's grip, direct, no middleman. Putin's aims for Belarus sharpen into focus, while Lukashenko's carefree spins at dances, they clash like a false melody. Warning chimes toll softly for Belarus. Can one man's rhythm drown out the roar of approaching peril? Swift as a shadow, Ukraine's promise of payback unfolds. Volodymyr Zelensky's fresh alert paints the crisis in stark lines. He declares, they're exploiting Belarus land, both in space and setup. A grave issue. Tasks handed out. Solutions ready at the next High Council. From Kyiv's view, conflict isn't border-bound anymore. It's creeping into Minsk's bustling avenues. Echoes of footsteps quicken, the scent of urgency in the air. Experts whisper, Ukraine masses defenses along the edge, shields, gun lines, waves of fighters. This bold counter, voiced by Zelensky and foreseen by watchers, it's a nightmare blueprint for Belarus, tied to Moscow's leash. Picture crystal lights flickering out in that grand Minsk hall where Lukashenko twirls, leaving his land exposed to streaking threats overhead. No accident here. No mere supply tweak. Moscow's ground stalls birth this horror, a savage twist on blending war tools into everyday homes. Routes charted right over quiet neighborhoods, the ultimate dread. Zelensky's leaked details on those roof gadgets? They scream deliberate outrage from the Kremlin. Not mere wires. These are fierce signal disruptors, relays dodging Ukraine's jammers on drone GPS. Global navigation satellite system paths. Or bursts of static to fog enemy scans. Moscow's tech crews bolted them onto Minsk's towering resident towers. Putin crafts a cruel bind for Ukraine, let the signals flow and endure strikes on their turf, or hit Belarus structures to mute them. But does he truly value Belarus? Field intel from Ukrainian sources paints failure on Koval and Volyn lines. Russia pivots, making Belarus skies a secure path. They've tasted the sting of Ukraine's Western Guards, lethal, unyielding. Now, Shahed 136/131, suicide drones and rockets launch not from home soil. From Belarus's southern paths, through misty bogs and thick woods. The Kremlin's gain? Obvious. Yet danger cloaks Belarus like fog. When Zelensky vows no silence against these blows, what sparks next in the quiet north? Kyiv's eyes lock on Minsk's vital spots, military fuels, oil hearts. First strike? The Moza refinery, economic pulse for Belarus, and Russia's iron beasts. Just 40 kilometers from the line, it feeds diesel to tanks. Picture advanced long-reach drones, or tweaked Neptune missiles, toppling distillation spires. Not just flames leaping high, acrid smoke choking the breeze. Russia's supply chain snaps. Tanks idle as scrap. Wings grounded like forgotten dreams. If Moser falls silent, billions vanish yearly from Belarus coffers. Lukashenko teeters on ruin's edge. Sensory chaos, heat waves distorting air, the bitter tang of burning fuel. In retaliation's shadow, Target 2 rises, Mykolaiv Air Base, south of Minsk. Hub for Russia's A-50 early spotters, Sky Watchers, and MiG-31K carriers of hypersonic Kinzhal loads. Experts nod, Ukrainian scouts map it pinpoint sharp. A drone flock assault could erase Russia's aerial edge in moments. Waves crash near homes, shaking Minsk's core. The illusion of safety crumbles, vibrations rattling windows. But the true apocalypse? Belarus's power veins. Yamal Europe gas line. Druzhba oil artery snaking through. These aren't pipes. They're Lukashenko's lifeline fees. Unknown craft hitting pump hubs or pressure points, darkness descends, chill bites deep. Minsk's number 4 heat plant damaged, the grid fails for 2 million souls. Lifts halt mid-climb, water flow cease, daily rhythms freeze. Note, Ukraine's forces tapped Druzhba 5 times this year. Moscow Times confirmed on December 3. Threat? Real, looming. Their 1,000-kilometer reach eyes even Novopolotsk's Naftan up north. By shielding Putin's flyers in people's homes. Lukashenko inks his nation on the strike roster. One dawn, black plumes from Moser veil Minsk skies, that waltz tune fades forever. Kiev's blueprint? A shadowed web to stall the capital. Lukashenko's team scoffs, but Putin's plays and Ukraine's counters glare as war's homecoming in Belarus. Those Minsk roofs? No local ploy. They ignite a border blaze. Shift gaze from hidden tech to maps encircling Lukashenko's realm, the grand view. Minsk as Russian outpost redraws Eastern Europe's might lines. Handing his land as a fortified hold to Putin, stirs old terrors from Baltic waves to black shores. Ancient bonds awaken. The West nods grimly, Belarus? No free state. Russia's limb. Halt it? With arms alone. Drills ramp up fierce, long in motion. Reports swirl, Poland stacks 40,000 guardians near Kaliningrad and Belarus edges. Not mere refugee blocks. A iron barrier against Suwalki Gap thrusts via Belarus. Plus, new wall builds near Kaliningrad, Eastern Shield Plan. November 24 satellite snaps from watcher Clement Milan reveal starts, Polish border with Russia's Kaliningrad pocket shows dig sites. Anti-tank ditches, dragon's teeth blocks, burrow networks. Baltic kin press on, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia urge Baltic defense chain along Russia-Belarus fronts. Lithuania lays short anti-tank stretches. Latvia and Finland sketch early. Not a fence. Concrete teeth, drone drill zones, scouts for spy craft. Spots boast army-grade walls, wire snarls. The ground trembles under new foundations, echoes of history's ghosts rising. As fortifications harden, what ancient rivalries will erupt next, pulling the region into flames? In the previous part, Zelensky warned that Russia is exploiting Belarusian territory openly, turning the conflict into a deep crisis. He assigned urgent tasks and vowed responses soon. Kyiv now sees the war not just at borders but invading the streets of Minsk. Imagine waking to sirens wailing through Minsk's dawn, the acrid sting of smoke in your nose, as Russia's shadow creeps over city rooftops. Could this be the moment Alexander Lukashenko's defiant dance ends in chaos? Military observers and experts foresee Ukraine ramping up forces along the Belarusian border. They'll deploy advanced defense systems, artillery batteries brimming with thunderous discharge, and hordes of troops poised like a storm gathering strength. This electrifying counterstrike, foretold by Zelensky and analysts alike, paints a nightmarish endgame for Belarus, puppet to Russia's whims. Picture the scene, chandeliers flickering out in the Grand Minsk Palace where Lukashenko twirls obliviously. Left exposed, Belarus would face skies riddled with incoming fire, its defenses shattered, the cold grip of isolation tightening. But this isn't mere happenstance or a quick fix. It's Moscow's brutal deadlock, fused into civilian life as the harshest Allen-ready tactic, routes charted straight over neighborhoods, humming with dread. Zelensky's revelations on rooftop setups expose it as a calculated Kremlin atrocity, a violation echoing through the air. Those gadgets aren't innocent wires. They're pulsing electronic warfare transmitters, relays fighting back against Ukrainian jams on drone GPS or GLONASS signals. Waves of interference blinding radars with a deafening roar. Installed atop soaring Minsk high-rises, they loom like silent sentinels, broadcasting doom. Putin dangles a cruel trap for Ukraine, watch transmitters hum unchecked, cities crumble under relentless assault, or strike at Belarus buildings, silencing them but igniting new infernos. Yet Russia's shield seems paper-thin. Does Putin truly safeguard Belarus, or merely gamble its fate? Vital Intelligence unveils Russia's desperate gambit, offsetting failures on the Koval and Volyn fronts by hijacking Belarusian skies as a shielded pathway. They've tasted defeat against Ukraine's ferocious western defenses, blades slicing through air with deadly precision. Now, from Belarus's wild southern expanse, marshy whispers and forest shrouds, they hurl Shahed-136 or 131 kamikaze drones, missiles streaking like vengeful ghosts. The Kremlin's ploy aims for advantage, but Belarus teeters on the edge, exposed, betrayed, as storm clouds gather. Will Ukraine's fury burst forth, turning Minsk's pulse into peril? You won't believe what looms next. What if Zelensky's vow unleashes a cascade that drowns the dance floor in fire? Stay tuned, as the real horror unfolds. Following intelligence reports, it's clear Russia is desperate to exploit Belarus's airspace. Unable to gain ground on the battlefield, they have turned to a dark new tactic. Instead of launching drones directly from Russian territory, they're now deploying deadly Shahed-136 and 131 kamikaze drones from Belarus's southern corridors. Hidden among marshes and dense forests, these weapons silently slither toward their targets. This strategy reveals a disturbing truth: Belarus is increasingly becoming a battleground. Zelensky's firm declaration that Ukraine will not stay silent hints at the storm brewing. Could Minsk soon find itself in the crosshairs of retaliatory strikes? The potential targets are chilling, key military and energy sites that hold Belarus's very survival. One major focus could be the Moser oil refinery, just 40 kilometers from Ukraine. This massive complex fuels Russia's military might, supplying diesel to tanks and jets. If Kyiv's advanced drones or modified long-range missiles target this hub, chaos would ripple through the region. The refinery's destruction could cut off fuel supplies, crippling the Russian war effort and collapsing Belarus's economy, possibly pushing Lukashenko to the brink of collapse. But that's not all. The second likely target is the Mochilivsky Air Base, positioned just south of Minsk. This installation hosts Russia's key early warning aircraft and hypersonic missile carriers. Military experts suggest Ukrainian forces have precise intelligence on this site. A coordinated drone assault could seize control of the skies, wiping out Russia's air dominance overnight. Imagine the shockwave: Minsk skies turning black as missiles and drones collide, sound-driven explosions echoing through the city. What if Ukraine's next move is even more devastating? Could the heart of Belarus be targeted, plunging the entire nation into darkness and chaos? The looming question remains: will Minsk withstand the coming storm, or will it be swept away by the relentless push of war? Following the recent military developments in Belarus, the threat extends far beyond just rooftops. The true danger lies in targeting the country's vital energy infrastructure, its lifelines. Imagine the devastating impact if Ukraine's advanced drones strike the Yamal-Europe natural gas pipeline or the legendary Druzhba oil pipeline that snakes through Belarus. These pipelines do more than carry fuel, they generate the transit fees that sustain the Lukashenko regime. What happens if these arteries are cut? Power stations, like the crucial No. 4 thermal plant in Minsk, could be disabled. Without electricity, elevators would halt, water systems would dry up, and daily life would grind to a halt in the city filled with 2 million residents. The swirling smell of burnt fuel, the sudden darkness descending over the city, these images could become everyday reality. Ukrainian forces have already targeted the Druzhba pipeline 5 times this year, confirming the threat is real and imminent. But the danger isn't limited to pipelines. Ukraine's long-range drones, capable of striking targets 1,000 kilometers away, could pinpoint the Naphton refinery in northern Belarus. Think about it, by concealing these deadly devices behind civilian structures, Lukashenko may have painted his entire nation onto Ukraine's list of targets. When the smoke billows from the Moser refinery, blotting out the sky over Minsk, the haunting silence that follows could signify the end of Belarus's energy independence. A single strike could trigger a chain reaction, paralyzing the economy, crippling military logistics, and plunging Belarus into endless cold and darkness. The question is Lukashenko truly safe behind his defenses, or are he and his country on a knife's edge? The maps of potential targets reveal a terrifying truth. The dark shadows looming over Belarus show that the most destructive assaults are not just possible, they are highly likely. This isn't just military escalation, it's a strategic gamble that could shatter the fragile illusions of invulnerability. Will Belarus's infrastructure survive? Or will the silent threat of devastation finally bring the country to its knees? The story unfolding beneath the surface suggests that the war's reach goes far beyond the battlefield, into the very foundation of Belarus's survival. Now, let's step back from the rooftops of Minsk and examine the bigger picture swirling around Alexander Lukashenko. The sight of his nation transforming into a Russian military outpost has rewritten the geopolitical map of Eastern Europe. His decision to turn Belarus into a garrison state has rekindled old fears that stretch from the Baltic Sea to the Black Sea. These fears are no longer whispers but a roaring reality. The West has begun to accept this unsettling truth. Many now see Belarus not as a sovereign country, but as an extension of Russia's influence. This expansion poses a threat that can only be countered through military readiness. For months, preparations have been intensifying in the shadows. Reports reveal Poland has quietly amassed 40,000 troops near the Kaliningrad and Belarus borders. But their presence isn't just to guard against refugees or illegal crossings. These forces are building a formidable steel barrier, an unbreakable shield, against a possible Russian attack through the Suwalki corridor. Picture the sound of heavy machinery, the smell of fresh asphalt, and the cold touch of tiny steel spikes as fortifications rise. This is no ordinary border, it's a fortress designed to crush any surprise assault. Meanwhile, Poland has initiated the construction of a new line of border defenses near Kaliningrad, part of a larger plan called the Eastern Shield. Satellite images, published just days ago, show the first stages: anti-tank trenches, dragon's teeth barriers, and complex trench systems. Similar defense projects are sprouting across the Baltic region. Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia have called for a Baltic defense line, a barrier to hold back unpredictable threats from Russia and Belarus. Some of these barriers are already taking shape, ready to withstand missile strikes or drone assaults. Others are still in the early planning stages. This network of fortifications isn't just about physical walls, it's a message, an unyielding warning that this region will defend itself at all costs. Yet, beneath these defenses lie unspoken fears. Could these military measures ignite a chain reaction leading to a broader conflict? Will the world witness a new Cold War escalation, or worse? The question hangs in the air, silent but deafening. The Western Alliance is rapidly fortifying its eastern borders, turning them into almost unbreakable barriers. Imagine concrete obstacles shaped like fierce dragon's teeth, high-tech drone training zones, and cutting-edge devices to detect surveillance aircraft. Border zones buzz with military installations, barriers designed to stop migration, and checkpoints manned by soldiers ready to react at a moment's notice. This relentless effort is not accidental. A coalition of nearly 30 European countries, including Scandinavia and the Baltics, has assembled a specialized rapid response task force. All these measures reveal one chilling reality: Putin has truly cornered Lukashenko. The Belarusian leader, once seemingly confident, now faces a dangerous political minefield. Picture the streets of Warsaw on November 11, 2025. Tens of thousands gather in defiance, waving banners with a powerful message: only unity can stop the empire. This isn't just a march, it's a warning. The specter of a coming storm hangs heavy. On the horizon, Putin's manipulations have dragged Lukashenko into a perilous trap, one where survival depends on alliances and cunning. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, a more decisive chess move is unfolding. In the luxurious halls of Mar-a-Lago, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky meets with U.S. leader Donald Trump. The stakes couldn't be higher. Zelensky might carry not only recent battlefield victories but also alarming intelligence on threats from Belarus. Hidden in civilian buildings, covert hardware ready to be activated could turn entire cities into battlegrounds. The Ukrainian leader's bold declaration, that a peace settlement is nearly complete, shouts that decisive moments are near. Time is critically short. The pieces are moving into position for a final, explosive climax. As the clock ticks, the question remains, how much longer can diplomacy hold before this entire region erupts into chaos? The answer may be closer than anyone expects. Recently, a critical question has loomed large. Could the fate of Belarus be sealed by the escalating conflict between Ukraine and Russia? As Zelensky and Western allies threaten military action, Belarus finds itself trapped in a geopolitical vice. Inside the country, the illusion of stability crumbles as economic collapse and military siege push Belarus toward an uncontrolled abyss. If negotiations between Kyiv and Washington result in Russia withdrawing troops from Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko's grip on power might vanish entirely. Without his independence, he risks transforming from a leader into a pawn, exchanged between major powers. Meanwhile, in the shadows of diplomatic rooms, preparations are underway by NATO forces just outside Belarus borders, while inside the country, chaos erupts. The once confident leader now faces a country on the brink of disaster, its economy hemorrhaging, its social fabric fraying. The nation's supposed economic strength is a fragile mirage. Lukashenko's boast of $100 billion GDP seems like a cruel joke compared to the devastating reality. Inflation spirals out of control, erasing people's purchasing power. Factories that once thrived now churn out equipment only to serve Russia's military machine. A flagship project, the domestic electric car initiative, has become a symbol of this collapse. Stripped of Western technology, limited to assembling Chinese parts, it stands as proof that Belarus's innovation is turning to dust. The core of Belarus's troubles? Borders. Closed. Not just to refugees, but to trade. Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland have sealed their borders, creating an iron curtain that strangulates Belarus's economy and isolates it from the world. Key trade routes, vital supply chains, cut off overnight. These boundary closures are not mere logistics, they're a death sentence for a nation already hanging by a thread. As the economic and military pressure intensifies, the question becomes, how long can Belarus withstand? Will Lukashenko's fragile regime survive this relentless siege? Or is this the beginning of an irreversible descent into chaos that could completely redefine the region's geopolitics? One thing is certain, inside Belarus, the ground is shifting beneath the feet of everyone who calls this land home. Belarus was once a vital logistical hub, facilitating trade and movement across Eastern Europe. Now, it's spiraled into a virtual prison, surrounded by concrete barriers and military checkpoints. The psychological toll is heartbreakingly clear, the people's confidence is shattered. Unpaid wages, shuttered factories, and the forced labor of civilians serving Russian military goals fuel rising unrest. Their leaders' promises of growth are exposed as lies. What was meant to be a thriving nation has become a dumping ground for Russian interests. Economic despair grows quietly but intensely, an invisible threat lurking beneath the surface. As inflation spirals, workers grapple with worthless currency and shattered hopes. The once vibrant streets of Minsk now echo with a haunting silence, broken only by the distant thunder of an approaching storm. Putin's so-called brotherhood has transformed Belarus from an independent republic into a mere military outpost, a hostage caught in a global chess game. Every rooftop antenna, every electronic warfare device in the city could now be a target, an ominous symbol of civilian vulnerability. Zelensky's warning is unmistakable. Ukraine vows to crush this rising threat before it's too late. The question remains, should Kyiv act now? Mobilize its forces and strike preemptively? Or keep draining diplomatic avenues, hoping for a trickle of hope amid chaos? Putin's game is dangerous, but the stakes for Belarus are unimaginably higher. As the tension thickens, one thing is certain, the silent warning in Minsk's shadows could ignite a war that none could have foreseen. Now, the ultimate question hangs in the air: could the quiet collapse of Minsk lead to the most devastating act of the modern conflict? A secret plan, hidden in plain sight, may already be unfolding, waiting for the moment to shatter everything we thought we knew.